So conscious beauty is really talking about your overall conversation, right? Your
Okay.
overall toxic load. That toxic load comes from a myriad of things. So it comes from the food you eat, it comes from the things you clean your house with, it comes from the things you wash your hair with, the things you put on your skin, the things you clean your clothes with. So, and also where you live, right? Because there's a higher toxic load if you're living in a city.
Yeah.
So when we think about toxic load, it's I'm looking at it from a point of view of you may decide that Botox is your game and that's what you need to look your best and feel your best. You may have spent your whole toxic load on that, right? So you then need to look at eating organic food pretty much exclusively and also thinking about what you're putting on your face because you don't want to be in a situation where you're overloading your body with toxins.
Yeah.
And that also depends on your own biochemistry. So some people are incredibly good at detoxing. Some people are not. Some people have, and that is a genetic predisposition for the most part.
Okay.
So there is a gene called MTHFR, which
I'm
has
very
to,
familiar with that. But will you
so
explain it to everyone?
sure, it's how our body methylates. And so it's our body's detox process and how it works to, um, to really accept and then make bioavailable something, whatever it is. So it's in this case, it's often vitamins B, folate, and then the detox process.
And
So when
you
we
can
talk,
test for that because
yes,
everyone in my family, we all tested for that. And then it kind of dictates whether you take, I think it was methylated B12.
methylated Bs in general.
Yeah,
Yep.
and I was like, "Oh my god, I would never have known that." But why is that so it's important in terms of the dumping, your body's ability to dump.
It's an in person, yes. So it's important when we think about the detox process, but it's also important to think about something called the 216 ratio, which has to do with your body, how your body processes estrogen. So if we're
Okay.
using beauty products that are estrogenic in nature, which many are, they're endocrine disruptors, that if you have the 216 ratio, your body does not release estrogens in the same way. They go on a different pathway. And that also is something that needs to be taken into consideration. Now, if you don't know or you're not interested in figuring that out, then you should probably err on the side of caution, right? Now, with all of that said, if you're going to use something that is deemed organic and it's going to disrupt your skin, and you would then do anything to fix it, including and not limited to some sort of intervention with a prescription of an antibiotic or a steroid, then you're probably better off using products that are a little bit more in the center and a little bit more predictable and a little bit more balanced so that when you use them, you're not going into this thing where you're sending your skin into this other state and we have a ricochet effect and it's bouncing right back and you're using something even more intense.
Okay, I feel like you're so smart and we're getting into like so much researchy stuff, which is amazing and I love because I'm a nerd too. But I want to give listeners like a
Yeah.
really practical
Yep.
taste of midlife skin. So in our 40s, would you call it the 40s? Is that when like the changes start to happen from your perspective?
You know, it's really funny. Changes start to happen when our fertility changes for women.
Okay.
And our fertility tends to change in most women in our late 20s. So, actually, what we start to see is that the skin changes, if you look at it in general, with hormones, right? And so, what happens in our 40s that I think you're keying into is this combination of inflammation going up
Yes.
and hormones dropping or shifting. So it's that combo that's pretty intense. It's the mix of the inflammatory response with the hormone response. So when we think about that, when we think about what's inflammatory responses,
Yeah.
we're talking about acne, rosacea, melasma, all the sort of big problematic skin concerns are all coming, they're rooted in inflammation.
Right. Now, would you say, in terms of the main issues that women in this sort of part of life. Like, I don't know, would you call it perimenopausal, menopausal? Well, it's kind of all of it. When you're saying it's when the fertility starts to change. What are the key issues that women are facing from your perspective? I know what I'm facing from my own experience, and then I want to go into each one with some specific questions.
So I think we're definitely looking at the combination of aging and acneic in women, and we're looking at definitely a spike in rosacea, and then we're looking at sun damage and melasma, and it depends really on, to be honest, what's going on hormonally and also potentially what they've done in the past to get rid of sun damage that may have spiked melasma.